welcome to another episode of the Knits and Burls podcast. My name is Annie, and I'm coming to you from Kaci, Texas, where I live with my husband and our 4 kiddos. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for coming back to see me, even though it's been quite a while since I last recorded. If you aren't aware, I just had our 4th kiddo back in October, so it's just taken me some time to carve out a time in my schedule to sit down and talk with you, but I have plenty of crafting to share with you today, and I am really excited to dive in. So let me first start off by saying, or telling you about what I'm wearing. This is the Linux pullover. This is designed by Anna Deku. I test knit this for her last year, and I don't think I ever had a chance to share it with you on the podcast. I had finished it last episode, I believe, but I was like 9 months pregnant, so things were not fitting like they normally do, and I don't think I ever tried it on for you. So here it is. It's this really beautiful sweatshirt, woolly sweatshirt type feel kind of thing. A lot of positive ease. It has this really pretty texture all throughout the body of the sweater, and then the sleeves are reverse stockinette. So to knit this, you start with the sleeves, which is nice because you can kind of use it as your gauge swatch. And you knit them inside out, so you're only knitting, you don't have to purl. And then once you finish the sleeves, you cast on the hem of the body and work bottom up, and then join the sleeves together and work this raglan shaping to get this really cool design feature that she has. I knit mine in Woolly Mammoth limited edition. I think it was her Cumbrian 4-ply, and this is the Enchanted Forest colorway. So it's a woolen spun 4-ply yarn. Yeah, super cozy but breathable and lightweight since it's woolen spun. So yeah, here it is. I love it. I think that this would be a really great option for the Bougie sweatshirt knit along that Kaci from Young Folk Knits podcast is hosting right now. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. I really love it. It is just cozy and comfy, which is everything I want right now. So like I said, I have been doing so much making since the last time we spoke, so we have a lot to cover today, and I think that we should just dive right in. I have a few finished objects I want to share with you guys. The first one is a big one. If you've watched before, then you've probably seen it. This is the Cozy Comfort Throw by Molly Klatt of A Homespun House. I actually have it folded up into fourths right now, so if I get a chance, maybe I'll try to take a little video and show you how large this is. But it is a really good throw-sized blanket. I absolutely love it. I knit mine out of the Knotty Pine Fiber Company advent calendar that she did back in 2021. And I paired it with a solid color that my friend Laura from the Back Porch Fiber Co. custom dyed for me. And it's this really beautiful taupish brown. I hope that you can see that. I did the I-cord edging all in that contrast color. So I feel like it tied it in really well with the blanket. Yeah, this is it. I love this pattern. I love the weight of 2 fingering weights held together. It's like a nice heavy blanket, but without being like a weighted blanket. Trying to think what else I want to tell you all about this. Not sure. It was a great project to work on, just mindless garter stitch, which I absolutely love, and you got to play with colors. So I'm really glad to have that done. And my husband and I created this cozy little space in our bedroom, and I have it draped over one of our chairs. So that's really nice to have. Okay, another finished object. I have this little stack to share with y'all. So the only other things that I finished were socks and a couple of dishcloths. let me start with the first sock I finished. This is the Simple Sport / DK recipe that Lindsay from A Wooden Nest created. So you hold 2 fingering weights together and knit it. I think it was on a size 2 needle. I literally just followed the recipe that she has posted on her blog. I cast on the same number of stitches that she suggested just to kind of give myself a starting point. My idea behind experimenting with these socks was my kids love hand knit socks, especially my 2 oldest boys. But now that we have 4 kiddos, it's hard to keep up with knitting them all a pair of socks every year. So I wanted to experiment and see if I liked this sock recipe because Lindsay mentioned that she's able to knit her family socks at a faster rate with having the bigger gauge. So, you have to knit less stitches circumference wise to get this sock. I hope that makes sense. I knit mine out of Knit Picks Hawthorne. I will have to let you know what colorway this is. I don't remember. And then this is a Homespun House Xenophilius Explains the Deathly Hallows. One thing I really loved about this sock pattern was it used up almost the entire 100 grams of this fingering weight yarn for the main color, which I really liked because I do really enjoy scrappy projects, but it's also nice not to be left with a ton left over. So this was a great way to use up almost an entire skein. What else about these socks? I do really like them. I do feel like they're harder to fit into shoes just because they're thicker, so they're a great replacement for house slippers, and that's what I've been doing with them. So I don't know if this will be my go-to sock recipe for knitting for the kids, just because when they wear socks, they wear them the whole day, in and out of shoes. So I don't know if this would quite fit the bill for that, but I could always experiment with it and see if they enjoy the fabric that it creates. Okay, on to my next pair of socks that I finished. These were a share pair of socks that I did with my friend Laura last year. What we did was she purchased the yarn and then we split it in half and I covered half the cost, and so we shared a pair of socks. So that was a really fun little mini knit along that we did just together. This is a Knotty Pine Fiber Company. This is her Country Roads colorway. And then I want to say that this is Cider Donuts and Mountain Morning. So we didn't follow a specific recipe for this, but we did, we chose to knit them the same as each other. So we chose the Twisted Rib Cuff, and this is my favorite heel. I feel like it fits my foot the best, and Laura said that it fit her foot as well, so we chose this one instead of like a German short row or anything like that. I feel like I need the extra room that a heel flap and gusset gives, so that's why we chose this one, and then just a regular toe. These were really fun to knit on. Yeah, it took me a while to finish. I think I just kind of stalled once I got to the toe because I feel like I have it nailed down pretty good, the recipe for my son's socks, at least right now, even though the last couple months they've been like, oh, my socks are getting too small because they're growing like weeds. But I don't feel like I had it nailed down what my perfect fitting sock was. So once I got to the end of the toe, I just kept second guessing myself and not wanting to bind off yet because I have quite a few socks in my collection that I created, years ago that just don't fit me well because I don't think I knit them long enough. So once I got to the point that I felt comfortable with to just experiment and get the toe done, these came off in no time and they fit really well, which I'm excited about. But these next pair of socks fit even better. This is probably the best pair of socks I've ever knit. fit-wise. I absolutely love them. These are the Hermione's Everyday Socks. This is a free pattern on Ravelry by Erica Luder, I think is how you say her name. Super popular pattern. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a really simple, I think it's a 3 or 4 row repeat. And once you kind of get into the groove of the pattern, you don't even need to reference it anymore, which is really nice. I knit mine out of a Knitter's Homestead yarn in her Gardenia colorway. Just this really pretty pale blue with blue and purple and even orange speckles all throughout. And I also held, just to experiment, a strand of nylon thread in the heel as well as the toe, which I just thought, why not? I had some in stash and I've never done that before. So I thought it would be interesting to experiment to see if these wear better over time. So like I said, these fit me so well. I love the length of the leg. I wanted it a little bit shorter. I went ahead and got my favorite pair of hiking socks that I have and kept comparing this sock to those socks to try and get a good fit. And I don't know if it's the knits and purls that are in this pattern and that's what's creating such a good snug fit, but I love it. It has worked so well and I'm really itching to cast on another pair. I've actually thought about maybe experimenting with a ribbed sock and see if it is the knits and purls that's giving me such a good fit. But if any of you guys have experience knitting these socks and have an opinion about the fit of these compared to other socks that you've made, especially a ribbed sock, I would love to hear about it. I'm just so happy with how these turned out. And I really want to cast on another pair and pretty much just copy exactly what I did. I should mention, I don't know if this is helpful information, but I knit both of these on size 1 needles, US size 1, and 64 stitches. Also, I think my go-to cast on for socks now is a German twisted cast on. I think it just looks so much cleaner than a long tail. And they're really stretchy, that cast on is. I hope that you can see how clean and neat that looks. Okay, my last finished object I have to share with you is another small one. And it only took me a couple of days. I'm all cozied up with my blanket. I love it. This is a little dishcloth I made. This is a pattern by Margaret of Heidi and Lana called Essentials. I think it's a few dollars on Ravelry, but it's really nice. This is the second one that I made. I'll post a picture of the first one I made. I made it in this like darker navy and the same creamy white. This is in Lily, Sugar and Cream. And this color is Beach Glass and the white is Soft Ecru, I think is how you say it. I'm participating in Tracey's Dish Along 2023. She has a podcast called Grizzlie Knits. And she decided to organize a knit along this year where you knit a dishcloth a month, which I thought was so much fun. I have a little stash of cotton yarn that I've just accumulated throughout the years, and I thought that would be a really fun way to work through some of them and also work on Christmas gifts throughout the year. So this one is destined to be for my grandma Kathy. I feel very confident that she doesn't watch these podcasts, so I feel like I can say that. And I think next month, the dishcloth I will do is going to be the same pattern, but I'm going to invert the colors. So I think I'll do Beach Glass in the middle and then Soft Ecru on the sides. And then she'll have a little pair of dishcloths for Christmas. Originally, I had knit that dark navy and cream one for our kitchen, really as kind of like my tester to see how I liked the pattern and if I would want to give them as gifts. And then my mother-in-law was really interested in learning how to knit the dishcloths. So we met up at my sister-in-law's house, and I had brought the dishcloth so that she could see it and what it would look like when it was finished. And my sister-in-law said, "Oh, is that up for grabs? Because I would really love that." So that went to my sister-in-law, and I was more than happy to gift that to her. Like I think I mentioned, they only take a couple days to make, and they're really fun. My son, who's 7, he's been really interested in learning how to knit, so I cast one on for him, and he's been knitting away at it. I actually have it right here if you want to see. I don't think he would mind me sharing his little project. He chose green. This was a cotton I had in stash. So like I mentioned, he's 7, and this is kind of like, this will be his little swatch for the dishcloth that will come, because it looks not quite so functional with the way that he has been tensioning his yarn. But this is where he is. It's super fun. So I cast on for him and did the first row, and then he's done everything since then. So you can see he has a few holes, and it's actually interesting because I haven't taught anyone to knit for a while besides my mother-in-law, but usually new knitters will tension their yarn really, really tight, but he's kind of doing the opposite. He's tensioning it really loosely, so it's creating these big holes. But he's doing a good job. My mother-in-law saw this video on teaching people to knit, which I thought was hilarious and actually has helped a lot. So what you do is you stab it, wrap a rope around its neck, pull out its gut, and throw it off a cliff. So she was sharing that with my son, like, that's how you knit. So we've been pretending that we're stabbing and wrapping a rope around its neck, pulling out its guts, and throwing it off a cliff. So that's how he's kept it in his head, and it works really well. So there's a little tip for you if you're having a hard time teaching someone to knit. I'll try to see if I can find that video that she found and link it below for you. It was pretty funny. Okay, I think that those are all the finished objects I have to share with you today, but I have a lot of works in progress that I want to share about, so let us dive in. The first work in progress I have, if you've been watching for a while, I had cast this on towards the beginning of the podcast. I'm knitting the Jenny cardigan by Andrea Mowry, and it's this really beautiful cardigan. It's supposed to be a wraparound style with a large shawl collar. I put this in hibernation for a while because I was really second guessing the fit and the size of it. I did a gauge swatch. I cast on size 4, which with my dimensions should work out well. But yeah, with being pregnant and nursing, it's really hard to get a good gauge of what your normal size is and how clothes will fit you in the end. So I think I needed time to just set this aside and kind of mull it over and consider the fit of it. It is really nice yarn, so I knew if I wasn't satisfied with the fit with it, I was prepared to restart it. Although I didn't want to do that because all I had left was like a sleeve. But I have since pulled it out of hibernation and tried it on again. And even now, I'm really happy with the fit, and I'm still not at pre-pregnancy weight. So I think, as I get back to my normal size, I'll be even happier with it. So I have decided to keep it. Sorry, we had a little Lego interruption, but I'm back. This is living in, what is the, Buku? Yeah, one of my Buku bags. I've had this for years. As you can see, I had a pin explode in it shortly after getting it, which was so sad. But it's this really beautiful bag that these are supposed to be little knit stitches, I think. and super generous size. I don't know if she sells bags anymore. I haven't really kept up with her, but if she does, I highly recommend them. Okay, so I'm almost done with this. I am so close. This is the Ginny cardigan. I hope that you can see this well. It is black yarn, so it might kind of get blown out. But as you can see, the body's completely done. First sleeve is done. And second sleeve, I am on the ribbing for the second sleeve. I'm so close. Oh, I'm so excited for this. So I think I mentioned I'm knitting the size 4, and I'm using the same yarn that Andrea designed this yarn in, which is Harrisfield Designs Nightshades, and I'm using the Last Call colorway. So Nightshades is a really cool yarn. It's I think 100% Cormo or maybe 80% Cormo, and it's black yarn, but it has flecks of different colors all throughout it. So the one that I'm using has flecks of blue throughout it. I really don't know if you're going to be able to see that. But the Ginny cardigan has this really lovely texture all throughout that I feel like plays really well with the yarn because it's very subtle, which is perfect because with the black yarn, you probably wouldn't be able to see a lot of detail. So this is almost done, and I am so excited to get it off the needles now that I kind of have a better idea of how it's going to fit me. I haven't decided if I'm going to knit the belt because I don't think I'm going to get that super cozy wraparound effect from this. So I may just use it more as like an open front cardigan and not a wrap cardigan. And if in that case, I don't really think I have a need for the belt, but I have extra yarn for it. So if I decide later on to knit the belt, then I can do that. But I have absolutely loved knitting this, and I'm really happy that I just set it aside and thought more about it because now that I feel confident about the size, I'm excited to get it off the needles. Okay, my next work in progress that I'd like to share with y'all about is also almost done. You're going to see a theme throughout this podcast. I have a few things that are almost done. I don't know if I had this cast on last time we spoke, or if I did, I probably only had about an inch done because I actually cast it on exactly 1 week before we had our son. I knew I wanted something postpartum to knit on that was super simple and could just kind of get me through those first few months that are a little bit exhausting physically. And this fit perfect. I am so happy with this project. Yes, I'm just gushing over it. I love it so much. So another Andrea Mowry design. This is the Big Cozy Cardi. Oh, look, I'm almost done. I'm so close. So this came out recently, possibly back in October or in September. It's this super cozy cardi, as the name entails. What you do is you knit a rectangle piece and then you block it, seam it together just a little bit for like your underarms, and then you knit this huge collar and tiny little sleeves. So these are the sleeves. That's it. And then you can see where you seam it at. I don't know if I did the best job seaming, but I got the job done, and it'll probably mainly be hidden whenever I'm wearing it. But that's all that you seam. And then you knit this huge collar. It's a 13-inch collar, knit in Surrey alpaca. Oh my goodness, luxury. I've never knit with Surrey before, but it is a total experience, and I highly recommend it. So what yarn am I knitting mine in? I chose to knit mine in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport, and this is the Dove Heather colorway. I had this in stash, and I think I had like 14 skeins of it, so I knew I'd have enough, and I believe I only ended up using about 9. I will put that on the screen, how much I actually did, because I did write it down. And then for this, I didn't have Surrey in stash, so I went ahead and ordered this. This is Farmer's Daughter Fibers in her O'Dane base, and it might be like Lucky Penny or Mr. Lucky, something like that. I actually have it written down. This year I started keeping a knitting journal, which has been so much fun. Yeah, I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I did write down Mr. Pocket. That is the colorway that I'm using for the O'Dane. So I am knitting size 1. I did a gauge swatch with this, but you knit so much fabric for the body that it is difficult to get an accurate gauge swatch with just a 4x4, because since it's such a large fabric for the body, it changes a lot because you have the heaviness of the fabric as you're knitting with it. So I came spot on for a size 1, or I came spot on for gauge, sorry, and cast on for the size 1. But after blocking the body, I'm actually coming out to a size 2, but I'm really happy with the fit. My bust size doesn't fit into the schematics that Andrea tells you in the pattern for a size 1. Like she tells you size 1 will fit X bust. My bust doesn't fit in that, but I didn't want as much positive ease as the pattern suggested. So I found the Farmer's Daughter Fibers, Candace. She has a podcast, and she released a video, I think shortly before this pattern was released, and showed you what their shop sample looked like on her. And she talked a lot about the size, and I found that really helpful. So that's why I chose the size 1. But I'm really happy with the fit that this is coming out as, so I'm happy with the size 2. I'll link her video below because, yeah, like I said, I found it really helpful to just hear her thoughts on the size, because they're a little bit different than what the pattern suggests. Okay, what else do I want to say about this? I love this pattern. This project has been, I can't even describe you how amazing this project has been. It just fit so well with the stage of life that I'm in right now, and I think that's what's making it especially special. Like I talked about earlier, with being pregnant and postpartum and nursing and just this cycle, this is our 4th kiddo in 7 years. So as you can imagine, my weight has gone up and down and up and down so many times that it can be really hard to create a wardrobe whenever you're making it yourself that fits so many different stages of life. But this cardigan has been exactly what I wanted. Yeah, since it has so much positive ease built into it, and it's such a forgiving fabric, forgiving silhouette, it's going to fit um, throughout all of my fluctuating that I do. So yeah, so that's been really fun to work on, just throughout this time. And also, it's a really meditative fabric. I think it's like a 4-row repeat, and you can read your stitches as you're going, so you don't have to reference the pattern too much. The shawl collar is, like I said, luxurious. You're just knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, and work with this amazing fiber. I feel like this pattern reminds me a bit of the Half and Half Triangles wrap by Pearl Soho, like that level of ease and yeah, meditative. Like that's what this project has been for me. super simple, yet has some intrigue, but not too much to where it's like overwhelming. What else do I want to say? Um, One thing, I couldn't find the needle that I needed to pick up and knit the collar at first. So whenever I blocked my main piece and then I seamed it together, in the pattern, she tells you to pick up and knit the collar first and then do the cuffs last. And I actually read some Ravelry project pages that said that part was really important. Don't knit the cuffs first, but knit the collar first. But since I couldn't find this needle, I was able to find my cuff needles. And so what I did was I went against both of those suggestions and I decided to knit the cuff first. I also knew, when I finished the collar, I just kind of want to be done with it. So what I did was while the main fabric was still on the blocking mats, I took little um, light bulb stitch markers and I partitioned off the collar. The pattern tells you how to do that. And I just was pretty meticulous with it so that I knew when I picked it up off the blocking mats, it wouldn't be a big deal if I knit the cuffs first. So that's what I did. Um, what else to tell you guys? I don't know. Yeah, this project has been perfect for this phase of life in the last few months. So if you are looking for something like that, just something really relaxing and meditative to work on, I highly recommend this pattern to you. It is not a quick knit at all. You're basically knitting like a fingering weight blanket and then a lace weight collar. So it is not a fast knit at all, but I enjoy projects like that every once in a while. It's not about how quick you can get it done. It's more so about the process of knitting it. And this has absolutely been the perfect project. So much so that I want to cast on a second one shortly after I finish this one. This is all the yarn that I have left. It's about 16 grams. And for the collar, I think you do an I-cord bind off. So I'm kind of nervous that I really don't want to run out of yarn during the bind off because I don't have anything like this in stash. If any of you have suggestions on how much I should leave in order to bind off without losing yarn chicken, I'd love to hear. I guess I was thinking maybe like 6 times the amount of yarn that it takes me to do a full row. That's what I was leaning towards. Because I think you would have to knit to do an I-cord. It's like you're knitting each stitch 3 times. Is that right? So I figured at least 3 times the amount of yarn that it would take to knit a row, but then I was just going to play it safe and leave extra. But if any of you have any idea how much I should leave, I'd love to hear it. Like I said, I don't have anything like this in my stash, so I can't really fudge it with a different yarn like I could if it was a different fiber. Yeah, that's it. I love it. Oh, one thing. I accidentally kind of messed up when I was picking up the stitches on the collar. And the way I did it left this ridge. I think that you can see it. And I thought a long time about ripping it out. My husband kept saying, no, don't do it. um, he's really sweet. My husband's not a knitter at all, but he actually has a lot of opinions about knitting. So he's always a really good person to ask. And I asked my friend Laura, should I rip it out? Should I rip it out? She said, both of them said, if it's really going to bother you, then yes, just rip it out. But I actually really like that edge that it created that I totally did by accident. I think it created a good transition from this fabric to this fabric. So now that I'm further into the collar, I'm really glad I didn't rip it out. And it'll be interesting if with my second one, if I'm able to do that again, or if it was just an accident and I won't be able to create it again, but now I'm happy I didn't rip it out. I created my own design feature. Okay, only a couple more works in progress to share with you guys today. I'll show you the next one that is almost done. This is living in my Jenna Rose bag. If you've watched the podcast before, you've probably seen this bag. I absolutely love it. It is my go-to keep in the car bag because since it's dark, I feel like it doesn't really show much dirt on it, which I really like. Okay, I don't know if I had this cast on last time either, but this is the Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. I'm knitting this for my husband. Whenever we got out our winter gear this year, he got out his hat that he's had for years. Not like a homemade hat or anything, just a regular hat. And he put it on, and literally the inside lining is like coming apart from the exterior lining. So he asked me if I could knit him a hat, and I jumped at the opportunity. So we went looking through my stash and found this, and I am really liking this yarn. This is Patton's Croy Sock in the Gentry Gray colorway. Like I said, I had this in stash, and I think it's like the perfect yarn for just like a super neutral hat. The only problem that I have, I think I may have like 2 more inches to do. I'm knitting the adult medium, but you have to knit to something like 18 inches and then start the crown decreases. But I'm not there yet, and this is all the yarn that I have left. So I don't think that's going to be enough to finish, which is okay. I don't have any more in my stash, but I did find an Etsy shop that sells this yarn, and it's for $5 a ball. So I'm probably going to have to place an order for another skein of that, which I'm okay with. And I think I can use the scraps of it for something else. I've actually been considering trying out the little Sophie scarf, the really little one. And I think if I had enough left over from that skein, I would do it with that one. I really want to use it as like a little hair tie, or hair bow, I guess. So if I have enough yarn left over from this hat, I will go ahead and do that. I'm really enjoying this project. This has been my go-to for like when I'm nursing the baby or running errands in the car. It's just great. You don't have to count or anything. You just knit in the round. And then once I get to the crown decreases, obviously I'll have to think about that. But it's been a good replacement for socks because I don't have any socks on the needles right now. And that has got to change soon, but I've made it a goal to finish this before I cast on a pair of socks. So this will hopefully be finished soon. I was supposed to give that to him for Christmas, but that didn't work out. But thankfully he is more than understanding that my time is just a little bit limited right now. I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, just 2 more works in progress to talk with y'all about today. This first one is for sure a new cast on. I have started, I joined the Heidi and Lana Patreon. She had it open recently. I don't know if she has it open anymore, but she has a tier where you can get a mini and a progress keeper each month. So I decided to join that for a little bit, and I wanted to cast on a project that would use up those minis. So I chose the alignment throw. This is a pattern that Margaret actually designed, so I thought that would be a really fun way to use up her minis, was in a project that she designed. This is the January mini. So, okay, where to start? This is the DK throw version. I have modified it a little bit because I wanted to use the fingering weight minis that she sends out in her club. But I wanted the DK version of this because I absolutely loved the fabric that my Cozy Comfort throw was, and that's like a DK weight since you're holding 2 fingering weights double. So I contacted Margaret and I asked her if it would work if I just held the fingering weight double, if you could like sub it in to knit her DK weight throw. And she said she wasn't sure, that you actually might run out of yarn, but I found on Ravelry someone had done that already. They modified the pattern a little bit to make it work with fingering weight minis. So without giving anything away in the pattern, what you do is you cast on 2 less stitches for each section. So I cast on 2 less stitches for here, here, and here. So 6 total. And then I'm also knitting the garter ridges 2 less than what the pattern says. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about it, feel free to contact me. I just don't want to give away the numbers since it is a paid for pattern. So before I added in the January club, I wanted to test out the math and see if it would work. So I had a sock set in my stash from her, and that's what these 2 are. I want to say that this is like the suitcase sock set or something like that. It was, what is that called? It was something that she released last year. So it's this really pretty kind of beige color, and it has pops of this pomegranate color throughout. So I cast on those 2, and now I'm adding January. Yeah, I've been really enjoying this project. So the idea behind it is every month I will knit a little cross, and then I will keep up with her Patreon minis that way. And I might do, like if she releases a mini skein set, I might purchase it just to give me some more crosses. And then once I finish the blanket, then I'll probably be done. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this project. It's really fun. Just the way that you knit 3 different colors in one row. I don't know if that's called intarsia. I'm not sure, but I've never done this before. And it's actually fun. Whenever I first cast this on, I had it sitting on the couch, and my 7-year-old, he came over and he said, "Whoa, that is so cool. How are you doing that?" And it was fun to kind of show him how I'm doing it. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this project. It's been fun. It's kind of fun to have something to work on long term that you can watch grow little by little, but it's not a huge time commitment. I enjoy projects like that, kind of like the dishcloths that I'm doing. 1 dishcloth a month. It's not a big time commitment, but throughout the year, I'll have 12 dishcloths by the end of the year. Okay, last project I want to share with you guys, and I actually really need your opinion on this. So this is living in a new project bag I got. My friend Laura got me this for my birthday. I love this. It is by Magner, which I want to say that they're based out of Georgia. If you like the Field Company bags, or French Field bags, I think that's what they're called, but they're no longer in business. I highly recommend you check out their shop because they have bags that look similar to that style. They may only do like this waxed canvas, so it may be pricier than just regular canvas, but I have another bag of theirs that's slightly larger than this, and I really love it. It reminds me a lot of the French Field bags. So if you're in the market for one and you don't know where to look, I recommend their store. And like I said, I'll link it below. Okay, I need your opinion about what to do. So please tell me. This year I got the Naughty Pine Fiber Company Advent Calendar. If you don't follow Kayla, I highly recommend checking her out. Her yarn is absolutely beautiful. She has an amazing aesthetic, and her advent calendar this year blew me away. It was amazing. She did a fade, throughout. So the whole project is cohesive, but how she did it was she did sets of 4 or 5 like families throughout the advent calendar, and each of those were a fade, but they faded really well all together. Um, so originally I cast on another cozy comfort throw in her advent calendar, and I had it paired with the same custom dyed yarn that Laura made for me. And I think I made it through 6 days, and I loved it, right? I love this pattern. It's super relaxing. And like I've mentioned so many times, I love the weight of it. But I think just because I was marling it with another yarn, you weren't getting quite the effect that I wanted um, from her full advent. So I decided to rip it out, and instead I cast on the habitation throw. This is a very popular pattern. This is by Helen Stewart, I believe. It's a fingering weight blanket, originally designed for an advent calendar, I think, but only using 10 grams. So it's a bit of a smaller blanket. I think the finished dimensions are like 40 inches by 40 inches. So definitely smaller than what I would prefer. So I decided to cast this on, and my intention was to knit the full 20 grams, and then I'll just make it bigger. So once I get through halfway through the advent, then I'll start decreasing. Also, I have seen on Ravelry, some people have adjusted the pattern to make it a rectangle. So I was also considering that, but I don't have to make that choice until I'm further into the project. But like you can see, I haven't gotten very far. I don't know why, but I'm kind of second guessing this, and that's why I need your opinion. I really want a project that uses the entire advent calendar, preferably a fingering weight blanket. I just love blankets, and I think that they're a really great way to showcase the whole advent. But I don't know what it is that's not making me want to knit on this. I haven't gotten far enough in to where it's a super intuitive pattern, and I'm hopeful that it will become like that, because right now I'm having to reference the pattern so much and check off each row that I do, which I don't know if I want to do that for an entire blanket. I would love if it got to a point to where I can be like, oh, okay, I know which row to do next without having to reference. Another thing that's making me hesitate about this project is the way that it's designed. You know, the corners are going to have a thicker part. So, like, the stripes are going to get thinner and thinner as you get into the blanket because the rows are getting longer and longer. And I don't know if I'm going to love that. I love that this one, each stripe is the same thickness as the next one. I feel like it gives like a good balance to all the colors. And I don't know if you would get that in this blanket. So as you can see, I've even taken off the needles because I needed them for a different project, and I've just stalled on this, and I'd love your opinion. It was such a beautiful advent calendar, um, by far the prettiest one I've ever gotten, that I really want to showcase it well, and I want to pick the perfect project for it. So if you have any pattern suggestions, let me know, or if you've knit the habitation throw before, I'd love to hear your opinion about it. Does it become more intuitive? Um, does it get balanced out even though the stripes get smaller in the middle? I really want your opinion. And yeah, so that's just kind of a lingering whip. It's kind of like my Jenny cardigan, right? Like I'm I'm needing time to mull over it, and so I'm okay that it's just sitting on the back burner right now. I have a lot of other projects to keep me busy, and I know when I get to working with this yarn, I'm gonna really enjoy it. So That has a progress keeper on it. This is from Denim and Rain. I love her work. She is so talented. She makes all of these from resin. I hope that you can see just how beautiful this is. This is a little mushroom, but inside of it, it has like flecks of gold. Yeah, she is super talented. I think that she's actually having a seconds sale soon. So if I can get this podcast up quickly, I recommend that you check her out. I'm assuming she'll sell out quickly because I think she's pretty popular, but who knows? Um, Maybe you can get your hands on something if you're interested. Okay, I think that those are all the works in progress I have to share with you. That was a lot. I actually have more works in progress, but these have been my main focus lately, and I'm hoping to get both cardigans and that hat off the needles before I sit down and talk with you again. So the next time I'll have more works in progress to share with you. Um, yeah, more to talk about. But since it's been a few months since I have had a chance to sit and chat, I have a few acquisitions, not very many, but a few that I want to share with you. I actually wanted to talk to, I have a big D-stash going on right now. I created an Instagram account for it. It's called at knits and burls underscore D-stash. Um, yeah, I mean, I've been, I'd say, a knitter with a capital K for about 8 years now, and I have a stash to prove that. So I've just been feeling a bit overwhelmed by how much yarn I have. It's kind of gotten to a point where if I want to go and find a skein, it is like a huge endeavor, which is just really annoying. And my style has changed throughout the years, which is absolutely okay. I've learned that I I just get a lot more wear out of more neutral colors. Um, Although I really enjoy how beautiful yarn is, and yeah, just the creativity that indie dyers have in all of that. My my preferences have just changed. But all that to say, I have a D stash going on right now. If you'd like to check it out, I will leave a link below to where you can find that. And I'm planning on having another D stash in the summer, but I wanted to try to clear out as much of this as possible, and then that'll help me go through my stash again and do another big clean out. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, feel free to like contact me if you're interested in something, but yeah, you want to try to make a deal or whatever, I'm totally open to that. I just needed a starting point to list them at. So they're all listed, but yeah, feel free to contact me if you want to negotiate. I'm totally okay with that. Okay, so a few acquisitions that I have. Going back to my big cozy cardi, like I said, I want to knit a second one. I just enjoyed the process of knitting that so much, and yeah, I can't wait to have it done and cozied up in. So for my second one, I purchased yarn. These two beautiful yarns. Um, oh, I just love that. It's kind of like a lighter neutral version of my first one. I can't wait to knit on this. So my main color is Elsa Wool. I have never knit with her yarn before, but oh my goodness. If you guys like Cormo, I highly recommend you check her out. I don't think that she has an Instagram account, but I will link her website below. And I've made 2 purchases from her, and they just have the best customer service. She'll contact you before she ships it. She let me know, like, I think that there were some weight differences and some skeins, so she contacted me to me know about that. And she lets you know when she ships your yarn. Yeah, she just always great customer service. I also had a question about what base to get, and she was um, more than willing to answer my questions and was really nice. So I highly recommend giving her shop a try. If you love the feel of Cormo, oh my goodness, I wish that y'all could feel this. It is unbelievable. It is plump and squishy. Oh, I think knitting a big cozy cardi out of this yarn is going to be a whole new level experience. Since that's such a huge project, you spend a lot of time knitting on it, and this yarn is absolutely going to add to the experience. I cannot wait to cast this on. So let me read it for you. I got Woolen Spun 2-ply sport weight. It's 100% wool from purebred Cormo sheep in Montana. And this is, I think it's just white. I don't know if it says it on here, but I will write below which colorway this is. And also, they have shade cards. So if you're interested, you can like customize your shade card and order it through them, which is what I did because I wanted to get the right color before I made a big purchase. So I ordered a shade card and then I went back and ordered the full sweaters quantity. So that is my first acquisition. And then with that, I am going to use the Oh Dang by Farmer Starter Fibers again. And this is the elk antler colorway. I feel like you're not getting the best view of this. It's a hard color to capture. It is like the perfect taupe. It has a little bit of purple undertone in it, but it's also super neutral and yeah, oh, I can't wait. I think that these two are going to pair really well together. So that's going to be cast on soon. I should be responsible and do another gauge swatch since it's a different yarn, but I really don't want to. But we will see. We will see. I enjoy gauge swatching, but also I'm just really excited to get this on the needles properly. So yeah, that may be a new cast on next time. We will see. We will see. That says a lot if I'm willing to cast on that project again, because like I said, it's a big one. It takes a lot of time. Okay, next up, my next acquisition that I got was a couple skeins of Naughty Pine Fiber Co. Oh, I feel like you're not getting, oh, there you go. Where did I get that? Do you see the green? Oh, look how beautiful that is. So Kayla, I think, has changed the way that she's selling yarn this year. Last year, I think she did a lot of pre-orders, but this year instead, she's doing, what is that called? Like ready to ship updates. So this was a ready to ship update that she did this year. And I decided to get a couple skeins. So this first one is called Rocky Mountain High, and both of these are on her Bighorn sock base, which is 80/20, 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. So this green was actually in her advent calendar, and when I opened it, I even wrote on my Ravelry notes, I think, like, might try to get a full skein of this because my favorite color is green, and this is the perfect green. I absolutely love it. It's super dark, so I don't know if you're getting quite the full effect of it. Um, my 7-year-old's favorite color is also green, and he tried to tell me that he was going to have this, but we will see. We will see. Right now, it's just going to live in my stash, and it'll turn into something someday. And then the second skein I was able to get from her, this is a one of a kind. This was like a trial run that she did for the full Advent skein that she released in the Advent calendar. And I actually meant to get the full Advent skein and show you the differences, but it's in my bedroom, which is where the baby's asleep. So I'm not going to do that right now. But if you guys want to see it, let me know and I can make sure to do that in the next podcast. Okay, the next acquisition I got, which I only got a couple more, this one's super fun. If you follow me on Instagram, I did a little story on this comparing this size cone to the baby because they're actually pretty similar size. This is a 3-pound cone of yarn, which I have never knit from a cone before, so I'm really excited about this. I think that you say it Sistari. I'm not totally sure. I will link their Instagram and website below. It's Cestari. So they have a deal going on right now, and I think they still have some left. At the mill that they mill their yarn, they got a batch of yarn that had too much vegetable matter in it, which is stuff like hay and other debris that, is in the fleece of a sheep. It had too much yarn, too much of that in it for them to feel comfortable selling it in their shop. So they heavily discounted it. And for this 3-pound cone, it was $45. And this is 2,300 yards of yarn. It's worsted weight 2-ply. You can see the 2 plies here. And I don't know if you're really going to be able to see, but it does have vegetable matter in it. Honestly, you guys, that doesn't bother me. I love stuff like this. That's something that I've learned about myself the last few years. I really enjoy super sheepy yarn. So when I saw this, I thought, I have to try this. $45, I can knit so much with this. I think what I've decided to do is knit the Georgetown cardigan, which I think is a design by Hannah Feddig. It's in her Home and Away book, which I've had for years. They have 2 versions of that cardigan. You can knit it mainly seamless, and then you can also knit it seamed, which I have never seamed a full garment before. So that is my goal with this yarn. I think I would like to do that soon because one of my pinnacle dream knitting goals is to knit the Channel cardigan by Brooklyn Tweed. I believe it was designed by Jared Flood, but it is a seamed garment, but it has a lot going on with it, a lot of texture throughout. So I thought the Georgetown cardigan, it's super simple. It's just stockinette stitch. And then I think it has a ribbed shawl collar. But that would be a great one to start with to learn about how to seam on a simple fabric, and then to do a step up and knit a textured seamed garment like the Channel cardigan. So I'm hoping to cast that on sometime this year, and it'll be really fun to knit straight from a cone. I think that you just leave it like this and I can knit straight from it. So I don't know if I love the color. It's kind of has a yellow undertone, I guess, but it's also super neutral. I'll probably leave it like this. I do actually like it a lot. When I got it in the mail, our whole family, it was really funny. We're all gathered around it, this is the craziest thing. And then we were comparing it to the size of the baby, which I'll put a picture of it here. How big it is compared to the baby. Pretty funny. Okay, last acquisition, and then I have some stitch markers I wanted to show you guys. This I actually just got yesterday. This is Pearl Soho Linen Quill. Oh, I'm so excited to knit with this. So I got this to knit. Emma from Woolly Mammoth Fiber Co. She is releasing her Ferny Corner shawl. I want to say on February 17th, I think. So really soon, in a week or so. And I have been admiring that shawl since the very first time she showed it on her podcast years ago. And I've always wanted to knit it. It's just like super, in my opinion, like elegant and timeless. It's mainly like a simple, I think it's garter stitch, and then on the edge it has a lace portion, and then a little bit of garter stitch, and then you bind off in the contrast color and a picot bind off. It just, I just love that. That shawl. I love the look of it. So I knew I would want to cast on the same day that she released it, but she's doing a shop update, I think the same day as the release, for the yarn that she designed the pattern in. But I knew, well, if I purchased yarn at the shop update, it could take a few weeks for me to get it and cast it on. So I wanted to get some yarn to be able to cast on the same day. So my plan is to hopefully shop that shop update and get another combo to create a second one. So this will be my first version. So I'm going to knit it in, this one is pale oats. This will be my main color, so like the garter stitch portion at the top, and then this is pale mushroom, and this will be the lace bit. My goal for the color combo was to knit something that was super neutral and would go with pretty much everything in my wardrobe. And I think that this was a perfect choice. Also, I think that she designed the yarn in a BFL Gotland base. So the base is naturally a darker base, and that's why I was really drawn to try a creamy white base for the main color of the one that I got from Pearl Soho. So that is what this is destined to be. Oh wow, look. you can tell that I like neutral. Wow, look at that. So these will pair very well together if I wear the shawl with the collar with the cardigan. You can tell I like creamy white and taupe. Those are my colors. And that is totally okay. That's totally okay. The last thing I wanted to share with you guys, look at these super cute stitch markers I just got in the mail. These are from Back Porch Fiber Co. Oh, I hope that you can see those. They're all little hearts. Laura recently just updated her shop with a bunch of Valentine's goodies, and these ones were so cute. Yeah, if you guys are in the market for some new stitch markers, I highly recommend checking out her Etsy shop, and I will link that below. Another thing that I wanted to show you, like I mentioned earlier, I started a knitting journal this year, which has been so much fun. I had this journal just like in my husband's office. I don't know if he had purchased it or if I did, but it wasn't being used, and I asked if I could have it. So what I did was I just created a journal. And I've been documenting projects, as I knit them, and then also the yarn that I have chosen to do. It's just been really fun. I use Ravelry a lot. I try to do a pretty good job about keeping it updated because honestly, I find it really helpful for myself to stay organized, and also I like to knit the same pattern more than once. So if I learn something the first time that I knit it, I like to document that because it'll help me if I knit it again. So I try to keep a pretty good job at I try to do a pretty good job at keeping my Ravelry updated, but there's something just so satisfying about pen and paper, and it's been kind of another creative outlet for me, and I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, if you guys want a more detailed look of this, just let me know and I can show you in more detail how I have set mine up and what I've been doing with it. But yeah, do you guys keep a knitting journal? I'd love to know. They're fun. Okay, I think I have caught up with everything. Like I said, I have more works in progress, but I'm going to share that for the next episode. And I'm toying with the idea of changing up the format a little bit and maybe recording smaller bits and then piecing those together rather than sitting down for an hour and catching you all up. Because, yeah, in this phase of life, carving out an hour in my day is much more challenging. It just takes a lot of logistics to get all the kids settled and entertained, but having 10 or 15 minutes every once in a while may be a lot more doable for me to sit down and update you on some projects. So let me know if you guys have a preference or if you're just happy with anything. Um, yeah, I'd love to hear your opinion. I'm really glad that you guys were able to take some time out of your day to sit and chat with me about this craft that we all love. It was really nice to catch you up. I have been in desperate need to share all of my knitting with somebody, so it was really nice to take the time and do that. So yeah, a little life update. We welcomed our fourth back in October, so he's almost 4 months now. And he has just been an absolute joy. He's really the most content baby I think I've ever met. Even in the hospital, my husband was looking online. Is it okay if a baby doesn't cry? Because even, as soon as he was born, he's been content ever since. He's constantly smiling and he's starting to laugh. Yeah, he's just the sweetest little kiddo, and we are all absolutely in love with him. Um, this is our fourth, so obviously I have a bit more experience now than I did with our first, but yeah, I think it's mainly his demeanor and character. So we are very thankful for that. It's made for a smooth transition, and all the kids have adjusted well to him being welcomed into our family. My daughter's 2, so she took a few weeks, obviously, to adjust to not being the baby anymore. But now we have to fight with her to get time with him. So I think that she has quite enjoyed having a little brother around to play real life baby doll with, which she does quite often. And she's still learning that, um, you know, he isn't quite at the age that he can play with her, but she insists that they do. So it's been really fun to watch their relationship grow. And my two oldest have been absolutely so helpful. Um, yeah, my 5-year old, he is constantly, as soon as the baby starts to cry, he'll run over to him and try to entertain him or anything like that. And my 7-year old will hold him for me, and yeah, it's been a really sweet time. Obviously, just adjusting to having a new person to care for, but we are all absolutely in love with him and adjusting well. So I am really glad that I was able to carve out some time to sit with you guys today. And I hope that you got some crafting in. And yeah, I hope it's not quite as long between podcasts next time. And maybe I will experiment with piecing together smaller clips to make it a bit easier to fit in. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get the kiddos onto the next thing and thank them for letting me sit here with you. And I hope to talk to y'all soon. Bye.